As the camera slowly zooms in on Gumball's house, there's a strange and almost tangible feeling in the air. It's not the kind of feeling you get from just another establishing shot. This one carries weight, like a quiet warning whispered beneath the surface. There's something shifting behind the scenes. Something subtle, yes, but undeniably present. And stick around until the end. There's a hidden clue most people miss, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. It lingers at the edge of your vision, teasing your awareness. Most viewers might miss it entirely, distracted by the charming visuals or the upbeat tone. But if you're paying attention, if you really look, you'll catch it. A movement in the corner, a flicker of something out of place, a disturbance in the atmosphere. One of the first emotional punches I felt while watching this intro was in the music. It remains unchanged. That classic melody from the original series, the one that's etched into the memory of fans everywhere, it's still here. And that matters more than words can fully express. In an entertainment world where beloved properties are often gutted in the name of modernization, this decision feels almost sacred. It's not just a callback, it's a tether, a musical anchor to something real, a heartbeat that continues to pulse beneath the new layers. This melody isn't just familiar, it's symbolic. It's the sound of home. It tells fans, both new and old, you're still in Elmore, but something's off. Stay sharp. They didn't have to keep it. They could have replaced it with something trendier, flashier, more marketable, but they didn't. And by preserving it, they're not just evoking nostalgia, they're honoring emotional memory. That decision says, we know why you love this show. We remember too. It's rare in this era to find that kind of respect. And in this one tiny, powerful choice, the creators are making a bold, almost reverent statement. They're reminding us that a reboot doesn't have to mean erasure. It can mean continuity. It can mean evolution with care. And that theme song, it becomes the golden thread tying the old world to the new, gently guiding us into this strange and shifting version of Elmore while whispering, not all has been lost, yet. Now take a moment to imagine the opposite. Imagine they had swapped the theme out for something like the Miracle Star intro. Seriously, try to picture that eerie, hollow knockoff theme layered over these new visuals. It would feel completely wrong, off balance, alien, like someone wearing a mask of your childhood, but underneath, it's lifeless. It wouldn't just feel disappointing, it would feel insulting, like someone took something you cherished and mangled it beyond recognition. That kind of tonal dissonance could have destroyed Gumball's return before it even began. If they had gone that route, if they had disrespected the original soul, this wouldn't feel like a comeback. It would feel like a quiet burial, like watching something you once loved be hollowed out and displayed like a puppet. But they didn't do that. They took the road less traveled, the one that respects legacy. And that choice, simple as it might seem, is profound. It's a thank you to longtime fans, a message of continuity, and a refusal to chase trends at the expense of meaning. They chose preservation over novelty, and in doing so, they kept the soul of the show alive. Sometimes, keeping a single element unchanged says more than an entire redesign. In this case, that familiar tune is like a lighthouse in the fog, guiding viewers through a reality that's starting to dissolve. Let's talk about detail, the kind that most people don't notice on their first watch, but once you catch it, you can't unsee it. There's this moment when the Watterson family claps, and their movement syncs perfectly with the clap sound from the original intro. It's not just a nice touch, it's precision. It's choreography down to the frame. This isn't nostalgia for the sake of it. It's intentional craftsmanship. It's as if the animator said, "We see you, we remember." These aren't throwaway references. They're deeply embedded tributes, packed with care. Every frame feels like it was constructed with obsessive attention to both the show's history and its future potential. And then there's Banana Joe. Yes, he gets peeled, but it's not just a gag. Inside, there are glowing blue orbs surrounded by a strange, white haze. It's creepy, unsettling. It raises questions. Is he infected with something? Is this a metaphor? A glitch? A virus leaking into the narrative? Suddenly, the joke isn't just absurd, it's menacing. It turns your laughter into curiosity, into fear. It hints that the comedic surface is just that, a surface. Beneath it lies something more intricate, something possibly broken. Banana Joe's insides become symbolic of the whole show, familiar on the outside, but filled with something foreign, something wrong just beneath the skin. When Gumball slides into the school, it's more than just a flashy entrance. It's a statement, a rupture in visual language, a collision between dimensions. The seamless blend of 2D and 3D feels too perfect, so perfect that it becomes suspicious, as if the two visual styles are fighting for dominance, but smiling through the struggle. It's beautiful, sure, but there's something else underneath. The animation isn't just cool, it's narratively suggestive. It implies instability, a shift, a malfunction within the fabric of their world. And for a brief second, I wasn't even watching a cartoon. I was watching the intro to a high-budget anime. There's intensity, confidence. Gumball doesn't just enter, he arrives. There's flair in his motion. But behind the energy, there's digital distortion, static. Little hints that reality itself is becoming corrupted. Every frame is a battle between illusion and breakdown. It's breathtaking and deeply disturbing. And maybe that's the point. The animation is too good, too fluid, too sharp. It leaves behind the playful clumsiness of old Gumball and adopts a polished visual language that feels almost other. It's no longer a style, it's a transformation, one that reflects a world whose borders are melting. The intro is littered with nostalgic poses, familiar beats from the original series. And those are delightful, yes. But underneath those callbacks lie hidden cues, glitches, anomalies, subtle distortions that most viewers won't catch unless they're looking for them. They're not stylistic flair. They're warnings. They're the show whispering, this is not the real world anymore. It feels like the series is on the brink of a full narrative break, a moment where the characters become aware, or where the viewers are being dared to see through the cracks. There's a quiet tension layered beneath the fun, a kind of shadow behind the spotlight. It's as if the show wants us to question everything we see, not just the story, but the medium itself. The illusion is wearing thin, and the creators are letting us watch it unravel. Every glitch, every flicker, every barely perceptible stutter in animation feels deliberate, as if the show isn't just hinting that something's wrong, it's screaming it, but in a language only the observant can hear. These aren't glitches in the traditional sense. They're signs of intrusion, evidence that something, someone, has infiltrated the cartoon fabric. The callbacks become camouflage, a familiar mask for an unstable core. The result? A hypnotic, disorienting experience where comfort collides with corruption. And that brings up a fascinating question. How are they animating this? Gumball used to be made in Flash. It was flat, playful, expressive, but simple. What we're seeing now is on another level entirely. We're talking dynamic 3D morphing, shifting camera perspectives, spatial warping, realistic lighting effects that breathe life into every scene. This is cinematic in the truest sense. It feels like an entirely new engine, or maybe even a new production studio altogether. That suggests a much larger team, possibly one with dedicated 2D artists, 3D specialists, motion graphics experts, lighting designers, compositors, and post-production editors. This isn't just a cartoon anymore. It's a hybrid form, a new kind of animated language. They're not simply updating an aesthetic. They're rebuilding a universe from its foundational pixels. They're tearing the show down and rebuilding it, molecule by molecule, and you can feel it. There's a weight to the movement now. Characters have volume, shadows have meaning, light has emotion. It's not about realism, it's about presence. This upgraded Gumball isn't just visually sharper, it's heavier, it pulls you in. The world feels more solid, yet paradoxically more fragile, like a beautifully rendered simulation that's on the verge of collapse. And that contradiction, that's the point. Then there's the Cloud Heart. You probably missed it. It flashes by in a blink. But as the family bursts through the chaos of the sky, one of the clouds twists into a perfect heart shape. It's barely visible, subtle to the point of invisibility, but once you notice it, it hits like an emotional freight train. Because despite all the madness, the yelling, the slapstick, the existential weirdness, there's love at the center of this family. Imperfect, dysfunctional, chaotic love. And maybe, just maybe, that's what keeps this strange world from collapsing entirely. In a sea of glitches, screaming colors, and timeline instability, that little heart-shaped cloud says, we're still connected. It's a silent gesture, a whisper of meaning hidden in the noise, and it makes everything feel human again. In the midst of all the distortions and chaos, that cloud becomes a reminder, a symbol of constancy, of warmth. It's easy to forget that, beyond all the layers of satire and surrealism, the amazing world of Gumball has always been about relationships, about connection. And in this new reality, where everything is shifting and unstable, that tiny cloud-shaped heart might just be the only thing keeping it all from falling apart. Things start to spiral as Gumball actually enters the school. The floor bends and twists like it's caught in a gravitational field. Ripples surge through the tiles. The geometry warps. And this isn't just fancy animation, it's thematic. It ties directly into fan theories about wormholes, time loops, and black holes. Could there be a singularity forming underneath Elmore Junior High? It sounds crazy, but this is Gumball, a world where science fiction blends with cartoon logic, where the surreal becomes the norm. And these visual anomalies aren't just cool effects. They're coded signals. They're saying, time doesn't flow the way it used to. Cause and effect are breaking. The rules are being rewritten, and we're no longer in familiar territory. The bending of space-time isn't just artistic, it's symbolic. It represents the show folding in on itself. Characters aren't just living in a cartoon anymore. They're trapped in a shifting construct, where reality mutates moment by moment. The school, once a place of predictable madness, is now an epicenter of metaphysical disturbance. Walking through it isn't just part of the story anymore. It's an act of survival. And remember the mailbox? Yes, that mailbox. It shows up in the very first wide shot, standing proudly next to the family, like it's always belonged. But that's weird, right? The mailbox has never been a major character. It doesn't talk regularly. It's not central to the plot. But it's there, centered, framed like it matters. And in Gumball's world, that matters. Inanimate objects have agency. They come alive. They have opinions, reactions, feelings. The mailbox has, in the past, displayed emotion, laughed, responded, and now it's being treated like a full cast member. That isn't just a gag, it's a symbol, a reminder that in this universe, the boundaries between the real and the absurd are permanently blurred. And maybe that's the point. If even the mailbox can evolve from background prop to symbolic presence, what does that say about the rest of the world? Is everything sentient? Is the show quietly suggesting that nothing is static anymore, not even the props? In this reality, even the mail knows something's wrong. Even the walls are watching. There's also this weird sketch that appears on the school wall for less than a second. Seriously, blink and you'll miss it. It's abstract, possibly hand-drawn, and it doesn't seem to belong. It feels like a message, a sigil, a glyph, and I can't decode it alone. I need help. These kinds of clues aren't just for show. They're part of something bigger. This whole intro feels like a treasure map, a story hidden in plain sight. But some parts are locked behind visuals too quick or too cryptic for one person to solve. If you noticed it too, drop your theory. Because I don't think this is random. I think we're watching the start of a hidden narrative, a deeper mystery waiting to be uncovered. Could it be a clue left by a character trapped between frames? A remnant of a scene erased from reality? Or maybe it's a glitch artifact from a timeline that no longer exists. These are the kinds of questions that elevate this intro from simply good to transcendent. It's no longer just setting the tone for the show. It's inviting us to participate. Now let's look at the logo. At first, it seems basic, just colorful letters. But take a closer look, especially in high-res versions. Each letter has a texture. The G, it's patterned like a basketball, complete with leather grain. The L and U shimmer like soap bubbles. The other letters, open to interpretation. But here's the thing, this isn't random. These are coded visuals, embedded clues. Every texture tells a story. They're giving us previews of themes, of characters, of elements yet to appear. It's a puzzle built into the branding itself. And that's genius. Typography becomes prophecy. Font becomes foreshadowing. If you start decoding each texture, you start unraveling the structure of the season. Why a basketball? Why bubbles? Why smoothness on some letters and jaggedness on others? Is each letter tied to a character's arc? A subplot? A piece of the greater multiverse unraveling? These aren't design choices. They're breadcrumbs, left for us to follow. Quick quiz. Do all the characters smile in the intro? Most people would assume so. It's an opening sequence after all. But no, one character doesn't. Miss Simeon. She's frozen, confused, deadpan. Why? Look closely. Beneath her feet is a swirling vortex, a portal, a literal hole in the fabric of the world. She's on the edge of being pulled in. And honestly, wouldn't you look just as stunned if you were staring into the abyss while your students dance down the hallway? It's one of those blink and you'll miss it details that completely shifts your understanding of the scene. It's not just funny, it's ominous. The fact that no one else notices, not even Gumball, makes it worse. It's like reality is screaming and no one hears it. She's the only one reacting to it. That's terrifying. Maybe she knows. Maybe she sees the pattern. Maybe Miss Simeon is our Cassandra, doomed to understand what's coming, but ignored by all. Her silence is louder than any scream. So if you've made it this far, congratulations! You're not just a fan. You're an investigator, a seeker of patterns. You feel it too, don't you? That sense that this season isn't just another entry. It's a transformation. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. A warning, a meta-narrative disguised as a colorful intro. Something is unraveling, and it's beautiful, terrifying, glorious. Let me know in the comments. Who are you most excited to see return? Penny, Darwin, the mailbox even? Because this isn't just a reboot. It's a transmission, a signal from a cracked mirror dimension of Elmore. One that's inviting us in with a smile. Before the floor falls out, it's the beginning of something entirely new. Something we're not meant to fully understand. But we can't look away.